It began with a flicker, August 6, 2025. A faint signal. A flash so small it almost went unnoticed. Inside a lab filled with silence and screens, the world's most powerful telescope, the James Webb Space Telescope, suddenly shut down its scheduled observations. Emergency override. Not for a dying star. Not for a collapsing black hole. But for something much closer. A comet, or something pretending to be one. It was catalogued as 3I, Atlas, another wanderer drifting through interstellar space. Cold. Quiet. Predictable. Until it wasn't. When Webb's sensors locked onto it, what came back wasn't just unusual, it was impossible. The object's chemical fingerprint broke every known rule of nature. Elements appeared in grotesque ratios, gases behaved with precision instead of chaos, and its structure didn't resemble anything born in a solar system. The first red flag came from the coma, the glowing gas that surrounds a comet's nucleus. At 6 astronomical units from the Sun, a normal comet should have been asleep, frozen solid. But 3I, ATLAS was awake, violently active. And instead of releasing mostly water vapor, Webb saw carbon dioxide, 8 times stronger than the water signal. No comet in history had shown such chemistry. It was as if the object was engineered to behave that way, venting gas under conditions where nature shouldn't allow it. Even stranger, the coma was too clean. No dust. No debris. Just smooth, controlled gas emissions, more like a system than a rock. Then came something even harder to explain, nickel, bright, intense, and everywhere. But there was no iron. Not a trace. In every natural meteorite, nickel and iron are bound together, 1 part nickel to 15 parts iron. 3I, ATLAS broke that bond. Nickel outweighed iron 40 to 1. There's no geological or cosmic process that can separate those metals like that, unless something built to do it existed inside. Soon, the mystery deepened. The comet began accelerating, not from sunlight or jets of gas, but from something internal. Its velocity changed by 0.12 meters per second squared over just 3 days. A staggering figure for a body 11 kilometers wide. Even more disturbing, the motion wasn't random. It pulsed. Every 7.2 hours, the brightness of 3I, ATLAS spiked, on and off, like a mechanical rhythm. Comets tumble. They don't flash in time. Whatever this was, it wasn't following the rules of gravity, it was following a clock. That was when whispers began spreading through the scientific community. What if this isn't natural at all? What if we're watching something built, or worse, still functioning? When Webb was forced into override mode, every telescope on Earth turned its gaze to the same point in space. The emergency protocol burned fuel and halted every other mission. That's how serious it was. And when the data arrived, it confirmed the unthinkable. The spectral readings didn't show a comet's icy fingerprint, they showed volatile, high-energy chemistry. Nickel lines glowing bright. Iron lines completely gone. Such precision doesn't happen by accident. In human labs, this kind of separation takes machines, energy, and intent. Now, something was doing it all by itself in the dark. Across cultures, across time, humanity has always spoken of metal from the heavens. Ancient Egyptians called it the metal of the gods. King Tut's dagger, made from nickel-rich iron that didn't come from Earth. What if those relics weren't just meteors? What if they were fragments, pieces of visitors that passed before? As the object moved closer to the Sun, another layer appeared. Hidden within its thermal glow was a faint electromagnetic pulse, a rhythm too perfect to be random. When the signal was converted to sound, it revealed a repeating pattern, prime numbers. Fibonacci sequences. Mathematical structures that shape everything from DNA to galaxies. It wasn't a message. It was a signature, embedded in its behavior. A fingerprint for whoever was watching. And Earth responded. Hours later, observatories across the southern hemisphere recorded identical ultra-low frequency pulses in Earth's magnetic field, repeating every 7.2 hours, the same as 3I Atlas's rotation. These weren't solar storms. They came from within the Earth itself, resonating like a planet remembering a song it had already heard once before. When astronomers first plotted 3I Atlas's trajectory, confusion spread through the data rooms. Its orbit didn't behave like anything they'd seen before. It wasn't drifting randomly through the solar system like a typical interstellar visitor. It was moving with intention. Every minor adjustment, every change in velocity, seemed calculated, as if the object were following a map only it could read. When supercomputers ran the simulations, what they found was chilling. The trajectory of 3I Atlas matched 92% of the engineered flight paths used by spacecraft for gravitational navigation. It was weaving between the Sun's gravity, the planets, and the asteroid belt, avoiding collisions with the precision of a machine. It wasn't wandering. It was navigating. It wasn't exploring. It was executing a mission. Then, just as suddenly as it began, everything changed. The strange gassy missions that had puzzled astronomers, gone. The nickel spectral lines that hinted at internal heating, vanished. The rhythmic flashes that once pulsed every 7.2 hours went completely dark. In less than 12 hours, 3I Atlas fell silent, as if someone, or something, had powered it down. But silence doesn't mean it's gone. Weeks later, as Earth's rotation brought new radar arrays into position, a faint echo appeared, not from where 3I Atlas should have been, but from somewhere entirely unexpected. The object had changed direction. Instead of continuing its outbound path beyond Neptune, it had performed a subtle course correction, a maneuver requiring precision beyond any natural process. It was now on a new trajectory, one leading inward, toward the inner solar system. Toward Venus. Toward Earth. Astronomers thought it had to be a data error, until radar from multiple observatories confirmed the same shocking truth. 3I Atlas wasn't being moved by gravity. It was steering itself. Then came the echo. A radar pulse sent toward 3I Atlas bounced back, but not from its expected location. Instead, the signal came from the far side of the Moon. Even stranger, it carried that same 7.2-hour rhythm embedded in its return. That pulse had only ever been seen once before, during the passage of the first interstellar object, Oumuamua, in 2017. Whatever 3I Atlas was, it had just awakened something hidden beneath the lunar surface. For the first time in recorded history, the Moon had answered back. Then, without warning, the James Webb Space Telescope, which had been monitoring deep space phenomena, entered a brief, unexplained reboot. When systems came online again, everything seemed normal. But across Webb's new deep field images, subtle rhythmic dimming appeared, not in one location, but across multiple galaxies. 7 pulses. Silence. 7 again. Every patch of light followed the same interval. Every direction matched the same corridor traced by 3I Atlas's path through the solar system. This wasn't coincidence. It was synchronization. It was as if something had connected distant points across the cosmos, activating a sequence that had been dormant for eons. 3I Atlas wasn't just an object, it was a trigger. A key reactivating a system that might stretch across interstellar space itself. A protocol running beneath the visible universe. Maybe it wasn't trying to communicate. Maybe it was verifying a link, confirming that whatever network existed between worlds, moons, and light itself, was still alive. A system that had been silent for millions of years, now beginning to hum again beneath the cosmic background. And once its task was done, it simply went quiet. Because perhaps the next phase didn't need 3 IATLAS anymore. It had already awakened something closer, something watching from within our own night sky. We thought it was a comet. Then we thought it was a probe. But what if it's neither? What if it's part of something older, something that operates beneath the laws of physics we understand? A program built into the universe itself, waiting for the right conditions, the right level of awareness, to reactivate. Maybe it wasn't passing through our system by chance. Maybe it came because we were finally ready to see it. To detect it. To look. And the most terrifying possibility isn't that we found it, it's that it was waiting for us too.